Hello and welcome back. I am thirteene. We're doing Grixis Dragons and Pioneer tonight. Still super stoked about Pioneer. Seems like it's going to be a really fun format from everything I've seen. It also slows down a decent chunk. And yeah, just pretty excited about it. So we're going to be revisiting another standard deck from Con Standard was basically my favorite. Like, we're going to be doing a lot of those. But this is going to be the Grixis Dragonlord deck, and let's go ahead and start the breakdown. So, of note, of these three cards, Foul Tongue is in our sideboard and Silumgar's Scorn is not in the deck, but this was the idea of the original Grixis Dragons list. Draconic Roar is deal 3 damage to a creature if you reveal a dragon or control a dragon as you cast the spell. Really weird wording on this for some reason, but it deals 3 damage to that creature's controller. It's basically like Searing Blood if you have a dragon in hand. Foul Tongue Invocation is an edict effect, and then if you, same templating on dragon, if you had a dragon or reveal a dragon, you gain 4 life. And Silumgar's Scorn is 2 mana for a Force Spike. Ugh. If you don't have a dragon, that card is terrible. But if you do, it's literal counterspell. So these are some powerful cards. Foul Tongue Invocation made it to our sideboard. The whole sacrifice thing doesn't work very well with the Emery Ascendancy deck running around and Feldar Guardian. But there's some life gain in there. It'll come in versus mono red. Then we're going to be running some really strong dragons here. Nicol Bolas the Ravager, Thunderbreak Regent, and Sarkhan, just all very powerful dragons. Nicol Bolas has the ETB discard and flips over into the Planeswalker. Thunderbreak's going to make all of our dragons really hard to kill. We're going to be doing additional damage and we're a pseudo burn deck. And then Sarkhan Fireblood's going to do a couple of very important things for us. Since we're a mono red deck and since fetch lands aren't a thing, because fetch lands aren't a thing, we're not running the Silumgar Scorns. It's just too hard to get the double blue. But he's going to allow us to loot away our bad cards as well as fill our graveyard. We almost ran Deathrite Shaman because of Sarkhan, but honestly, Deathrite last week was disappointing. But he's also going to fix our mana for our Planeswalkers, and then he's also going to allow us to just create a bunch of dragons if he gets to the point of ulting, if the game slows down enough. And then we're also running a couple of fun dragons as one-ofs. Crux of Fate, one-sided board clear for 5 mana. Spitflame. I ran 2 of these in Modern, and it seemed like the sweet spot, but seeing as how we're only running about 10 dragons, I trimmed one. But 4 damage to target creature is an instant. Then when we have a dragon enter the battlefield, we pay red to pick it back up. I've literally cast this like 5 times in a game of Modern in a single game. It was amazing. But it really needs to be the right scenario for it to shine. And then last but not least, Dragon's Horde. It's 3 mana, mana rock, and it also allows our dragons to draw us cards. So I've seen some lists try to jam 4 of these in the Pioneer subreddit. You don't want 4 of this card, but it is a pretty solid card and should do us some work. We have Treasure Cruise on the top end, Dragonlord Silumgar to steal things because Oko is going to be a problem for our deck, but that's what we're rocking with tonight. And slow Ulcerate into a Bolas. We're on the play. I'm going to keep this. It's a kind of pain-free hand. We have an Ulcerate. If this is red, we're going to suffer, but if it's red, hopefully a couple of 4/4s will go the distance. Opponent's currently on 6 cards. Also, I've seen a lot of the Pioneer lists basically running 1 to 2 basics. We are running 4 Fabled Passages, so we have a number of basics. I think it's 4 of them, just for the 4 Fabled Passages, but opponent shocked in a Steam Vents? That's fine. For an opt. Not a huge fan of that, but you do you, opponent. Without fetch lands, you kind of have to go on the full dual plan. Okay. So, Grixis Mirror. This could be a number of things. The fact that they have 2 mana discard means that they also have 4 Thoughtseizes, though. Dragon Tempest. Leaving up black for Ulcerate, although I'm not sure how relevant that's going to be. It's going to be hard for Grixis to interact with Dragon Tempest. We're running 2 copies of this card. Whenever a creature with flying enters the battlefield, it gains haste. And whenever a dragon enters, we get to ping something equal to the number of dragons that we control. The side erasure is probably taking our Glorybringer. It's possible they take Dreadbore if they're planning on trying to stick a Planeswalker in the near future. But this coming down pre-combat means they either have a 1-drop they want to follow up with, or they're missing their land drop. They did not put their top card into their yard with the Squirrel off of the previous Thought Erasure. Yeah, it looks like opponent's going to be able to either discard or they're going to put out a Planeswalker. That's fine, though. Oh, I love dragons. Oh, Lord, the Dragons are coming. Okay, so you're going to discard, we're going to ping you, and our Bolus is going to get haste. Let's see what you're squatting on. I'm assuming probably like a Narset? Yeah, Wild Slash won't get you very far. Sad Panda. Alright, I want to land. Oh, look at that. We even got our land. Glorybringer gets to come down. Double haste doesn't really mean a whole lot, but yeah, opponent can't do much. They're stuck on 2 lands, and the Dragons came for them. Alright, they are control. Spell Pierce is looking pretty good. Duress is probably fine. It's in here for like the super controlling matchups, but I don't think I saw enough out of them that I care. The Ulcerates are probably bad. They took Dreadbore, so they clearly had a Planeswalker they want to stick, so likely leaving Dreadbore in. I did not see them be a combo deck, so the Unmoored Ego probably doesn't mean a whole lot. I'm guessing the Thought Erasure is actually going to be a discard spell 5 through X. So I don't think they're a graveyard deck. They also didn't surveil either of the 2 times that they did it, so that probably seems fine. Don't need any of the creature removal. Dragonlord Solmgar is actually going to shine here, allowing us to steal their creature or planeswalker they try to invest in. The board clear's probably a little bit on the weak side here. Spit Flame might be fine. At least the fact that we get buying it back is card advantage, as opposed to something like the Draconic Roars are probably going to be the cut here. I could see... Yeah, let's actually just cut all the Draconic Roars until we see more creatures. We can bring in Duress and just try to keep our opponent's hand under control. We should also be able to Duress and take away their discard on 2 if they don't have Thoughtseize. This is new Sarkhan. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker, each dragon pings it. I can only cast Dragon Tempest here and have no way to fill my graveyard. I think this has to be a mulligan. Yeah, and this seems fine. We can Fabled Passage on 1, and then probably going to be tucking the Sarkhan. Then they discard us. We'll either have Bolus or Thunderbreak on 4. It's not amazing, but given how slow our opponent's deck seems to be, it's probably alright. Plus I can go get a Swamp with this, and then both of my lands in are untapped. Alright, and called it. They definitely are rocking the Thoughtseizes. Assume they're taking Bolus again. Without Draconic Roars, our curve is actually quite terrible. Like, super terrible. Bye, Bolus, you tried. And we draw the expensive one. Alright. At the moment, I'm not cracking Fabled Passage because they could be on Deathrite, although JVP probably means they're not on Deathrite. So we'll just get a Swamp so our other lands in are untapped. They don't know about the Blood Crypt yet, so I'm not going to run it out. It'll be fine coming in tapped next turn. The subreddit's actually been saying that JVP without fetch lands hasn't been moving fast enough. The looting's still quite strong. Negate? I'm so confused. Well, there's a thing in the ice. And another Thoughtseize. Well, opponent's at 12, and we are a pseudo burn deck. Maybe should have left in the Draconic Roars. Also seeing a couple of ground creatures. Little more inclined to... Alright, so I'm actually going to Dragon Skull Summit here because I need the red mana. My sequencing was a little poor previously. We can Dreadbore the Titty, which is actually going to give us a respectable clock, and then next turn we can put in a tap Blood Crypt, assuming we don't drop a 4-drop, and then Glorybringer can attack Jace after he flips. The back half of JVP actually isn't that threatening to me. I'm more concerned about Titty flipping and actually chunking away our life in essentially 2 hits. Yep, you got it. Opponent's at 10 and we're a red deck. I assume they have to take Glorybringer there. Yeah, they don't really have much else going on there. Dreadhorde Arcanist can rebuy another Thoughtseize. Alright, that works. No! I had to take the shock! Now they get a Thoughtseize it? Freaking fat fingers. Sarkhan allowing us to loot. Probably actually wouldn't have taken too much advantage of that. But getting the 2 mana would allow me to steal something of theirs with the Dragonlord Silumgar. Wow, they leave Fireblood. Okay. That must mean that they have another negate. Yep. Don't know why they think negate would be good versus our deck, but we can cast anything off the top at this point. Dreadhorde Arcanist is only attacking for 1. So they need to have some Essence Scatters or something amazing coming. Okay. Well, I suppose that's a start. Thunderbreak will hit our opponent for 3 if they try to target it with anything, so if we get to attack here, they're at a virtual 1. They shrank it with Jays to give it -2, -0, and they took 3 damage from it. They just added 1 more damage for me. Alright, and then this is probably a lockup because if they try to do anything to Thunderbreak, they just die. Spell Pierce is looking a little weak at the moment, but I mean, they kept taking shocks and Thoughtseizing. They cast 4 Thoughtseizes. Yep, and there goes the game. Alright, well, Grixis Dragons takes a pretty decisive 1-0 versus Grixis Control. I mean, can't be mad at that. Initial thoughts so far, though, Treasure Cruise might be a little greedy as a 2-of. It's just such a good card. I know that we don't have any explicit ways to fill our yard, but when we're Wild Slashing, Ulcerating, Draconic Roaring, then we want to trade those cards into future card draw. So if we do get to the point where on top decks, like our last opponent there, we just top deck a Treasure Cruise into hopefully 2 dragons to close it out. Silumgar got Thoughtseize there, but if the control lists similar to Con Standard end up making any kind of a prevalence here with just like an Ojutai or Pearl Lake Ancient come out, I mean, even just stealing an Oko seems fantastic. All those cards seem well within the realm of something we'd be happy to steal a Silumgar, which is why we included it as a 1-of. Bolas might need to be a 3-of. Not really 100% sure on that. Bolas is just so strong. All right. So being on the play means this is a turn 2 Ulcerate, turn 4 Thunderbreak. It's not amazing, but it's something I'll give a shot to. Fabled Passage won't come untapped until we go to cast the Thunderbreak Regent. So I think I'm going to lean on a turn 2 Fabled Passage to see if... Actually, no. If we go turn 1 and opponent Death Rites, we'll just Ulcerate it. That's fun. Fabled Passage fueling our opponent's Deathrite Shaman seems bad, but We gotta do what works for us. Ooh, and a Wild Slash. Alright. Summon it is. Evolving Wilds is either a budget consideration for Fabled Passage or it's Fabled Passage 5 through 8. Search for Iscanta. Okay. Don't really have anything to contribute to that. Guess that's a Fabled Passage, and opponents looking like they're Sultai control, expecting Okos. I mean, they could even be 4 color. Bending a dig through time. Definitely a control shell. Alright, they get to take our Thunderbreak. That was definitely a top deck, though. Actually, no, it wasn't. They might have just planned on searching on 2. If this was in their opening hand, the Evolving Wilds is kind of awkward. A lot of the decks I've been playing, I've been looking at Temples, because Temples entering tapped versus like Fabled Passage or Evolving Wilds, just the mana base is a little awkward for this format. Plus, you're usually rocking like 4 shocks and anywhere between 2 to 4 check lands. Check lands will just always enter tapped on 1. Anything to read from the pause there? They took Glorybringer? They might be looking for a land. But the pause either means that they had creatures they wanted to try to protect, or... Geez, I don't even know. I have the 1 blue mana I need for the deck, so I guess that's just more red. And we found a Watery Grave. Well, they shouldn't have any hard counters for 1 mana. Yep, Thunderbreak just comes out. I'm expecting a cast down. Because they left the Thunderbreak. I'm really confused about this. I'm expecting sorcery speed removal. That's why they took Glorybringers as haste. But they're happy to take the 3 damage. Abrupt Decay? Assassin's Trophy. Alright. Yeah, that's fine. 3 damage to land and get discard a removal spell. I'm happy with those terms. Alright, there's a Dreadbore that doesn't really do a whole lot at the moment. More dependent on red mana, so run out Blood Crypt. And looking to top deck some gas. The fact that this Iscanta is going to be flipping, if they bend something, is kind of bad for me. Yep, I'm not running any Field of Ruins, so that's going to be out for a while. And they must have drawn something really good if they didn't want to bend and flip. This is a pretty swamp, though. Glowing Fruit. Treasure Cruise. Playing around Spell Pierce, not like they'd know that we had it. So, not seeing any Planeswalkers out of them yet. This might be a Perlink Ancient deck. Ugh, I really don't want to fix their mana for them. I'm going to hang on to Urborg for the moment in case we top deck a Sarkhan, then I can discard the additional land. Playing out the Watery Grave here allows me to hold up Silumgar and either bluff a Spell Pierce or just hold up Wild Slash Ulcerate. I'd love my own Treasure Cruise, though. Yep, there's an Oko. Going after a food token. Makes sense. This looks like it might be negate mana, but I just got to go for it. Oko left unchecked will be a problem. Yep. Mainboard negate. Still not a huge fan of that. So I want something with haste. Maybe a Nicol Bolas. Ulcerate's probably not going to get much better than killing a food token. Same amount of life loss, but at least it's permanently gone. And there's a Deathrite Shaman. Okay, well, definitely taxing or removal here. K-Command. Opponent still has 4 cards in hand. They have all of their mana up. K-Command, discard, pick up Glorybringer. Glorybringer probably seems fine. Alternatively, I can hit Oko for 2. Hitting Oko for 2 doesn't actually accomplish a whole lot because they can make the search a 3/3, and that doesn't really do much for them. They can just create a food token, and they're kind of close to being able to swap, but if I attack Oko with Glorybringer, he's just gone. So let's pick up Glorybringer, you discard. See if they're running another negate. Okay. And seeing as how they only have 1 black up, I'll take the shock on the Blood Crypt. I really don't want to make Field of Ruin tap for colored mana. So let's Glorybringer. Alright. Things are kind of coming up Millhouse. Let's snag Oko. Assuming they don't have a cast down? Okay, I don't know what opponent has in hand. They've been filtering with Search for a while. I'm tapped out. If you have... Maybe this is an opt? This might be a dig through time. They have 8 mana up. Yep. Opponent gets to dig. Maybe K-Command not hitting Oko is a mistake. If he foods my Glorybringer, then he's going to survive with 1 point up. Then he can Elk the Search for his Kanta and block, and it'll be up for a bit. Yeah, I'm not sure what the right call there is. Opponent correctly bends a Fatal Push, though. Yep, Glorybringer's an Elk now. A Get Frog. Opponent, I'm a fan. K-Command. So I think what I'm supposed to do is pick up the Thunderbreak. No, that's not right. I can make opponent discard, but that's probably just closer to turning on Search for his Kanta. I don't think opponent has much going on. I can not just sack the Glorybringer. I want to get the haste of this back, so I think what I need to do is attack into Gitrog and see if I can pick up. But they'll just frog it again or hold up counter magic. Alright, I think we just hold for now. Glorybringer losing flying is kind of a big deal. Hoping opponent attacks with the Get Frog, so Glorybringer goes to the bin and I can pick it back up is the best I can do here. And they're going to get so much card advantage off this Get Frog. They also get a Field of Ruin me to get an additional draw. Pretty disgusting. Yep. I don't have much incentive here to float the mana. I want Glorybringer to die, so... It is technically correct. I should be holding it up if that's what the plan is, but... I just hope that they attack and didn't draw into a counter spell. And Oko's at 6. Scavenging Ooze. That makes K-Command worse. Alright, well, I have one plan, and this is it. Okay, that's a fine draw. There's Glorybringer. No counterspell so far is good, but opponent's shown us a lot of negates. So, attack Oko and his Exert. We'll hit Scoos. Then, yep, eat the Glorybringer. Makes sense. Then they're going to eat the Thunderbreak, at which point I K-Command, and we hopefully take Oko off the table and pick this back up. So, we're going to return target creature, 2 damage to any target. Let's pick that up and hit that guy. But actually pay red mana for it. Alright, and they have an active Get Frog and Search for his Kanta, so we're pretty far away from just straight up winning, but Glorybringer Thunderbreak is a pretty decent start. We should be able to start flying over Get Frog. We have a couple of removal spells that can hit him. Get Frog is also taxing their mana base. I don't think that this is a sweet combo just because you're going to spend so much mana investing into either one of them. But with 7 cards in hand, it's hard to pretend like we're not super far behind. Yep. Opponent has us on a 3-turn clock. We're not going to be able to attack next turn. We will have a Thunderbreak, though, which is going to make removal against us really bad. Oh. Alright, now Urborg gets to come out. It does fix our opponent's mana for them a little bit, but we're going to Spit Flame the Tireless Tracker, then we get a Thunderbreak and pick up the Spit Flame again. And I'm mildly concerned that I haven't seen any actual control elements out of our opponent yet. Like, they're a pretty good value deck. Like, they have some really strong cards, but okay. Well, that means that we're a little bit further behind. But that's fine. Opponent also knows that we only have 4 basics at this point, so Field of Ruin, if they have anything like Crucible on their list, can start getting us. But we're going to take 6 here and then be on defense. That's not great. The Get Frog is definitely king of value. I might need to do some Hypnotoad decks. I've definitely tried in Modern enough times. Just didn't have much oomph back in Innistrad. Like, now we get Field of Ruin, we have Fabled Passage, Evolving Wilds. Wow, and another Dig Through Time before their draw step. Like, they're drawing a ton of cards. I'm just not super impressed with the ones that I've seen for answering things. I don't know, something like another Dragon's Horde would be really good in this matchup, just to try to keep up with the raw card advantage. We could also just try to be a little faster. It is turn 11. Yep. And that definitely hurts. So we're looking at our draw step before going to match 3. I suppose I should update the match record. We are up a game. Wow, and Oko? Okay, that does it. Let's, Actually, we haven't boarded yet. I'm sorry, we're not up a game. This is a brand new one. We are currently 0-1. control, though. So Collective Brutality can only snag an Ooze or a Tireless Tracker if they haven't done anything yet. Not a huge fan of that. They have a bunch of big creatures that they care about, so Foul Tongue just being an Edict effect seems pretty good, especially if it can gain us some life to get out of situations like that. Wild Slash can be an early answer, so I don't think we want to go down too many of those. Ulcerate can definitely be trimmed, though, especially if we're bringing in Foul Tongue. We need Ashiok to get rid of the Yard because they have multiple Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time effects, as well as, oh my gosh, they just did so much with their graveyard. Iskanta, Gitrog. We have a lot to cut. Maybe don't want the Spell Pierce. They did have a decent number of creatures. Like, this is going to be awkward in hand if they're casting Tireless Trackers and don't quite have Oko or Dig Through Time yet. And they also were delving with all of their Yard, so I could see them just paying blue for Treasure Cruise and leaving up 3 to 4 mana. Thunderbreak is fine. Spitflame can answer a lot of their creatures. The Draconic Roars actually might be fine enough to trim on some Wild Slashes. We do have just a lot of hard removal spells. K-Command is still a really great value spell here. Dragon Tempest giving haste is going to be really good. We're going to cheese a couple of wins similar to Match 1. Yeah, this Sarkhan doesn't seem like he does much in this matchup. Crux of Fate still going to be a one-sided board clear. Silumgar still in a Get Frog or a Planeswalker still seems pretty decent. Maybe it's just the Duresses. Yeah, this seems fine. I'm not overly stoked about it, but it seems fine. We have a lot of good cards for this matchup. And apparently 0 lands. Oh boy. Don't have it go down like this. Opponent kept their 7. Alright. I'm expecting discard out of them. If I keep the Storm Breath, I need to keep the 4 lands, though. Yeah, let's just tuck the Storm Breath and probably the Steam Vents. No, the basic island. They showed us a number of spells that care about getting basic lands like the Field of Ruin and the Assassin's Trophy, so want to put as many basics back into the deck as possible. Especially with Fabled Passage, we're going to be taxing our 4 basics. Alright, draw Dragon? Nope. Okay. We still have Draconic Roar if opponent tries to go off of Skoos. I'm expecting discard? Okay, no. They might just be a turn 3 Oko. I don't know. Probably not worth trying to call. They have a lot of really good value cards, and value cards usually start at 3 drops. Why would you play Opt when you have Oath of Nissa? There's an Oko. I have a Dreadbore. Let's see here. Alright. I guess we're just going to take Oko out and hope that this is good enough. Really need to top deck a threat. Maybe not keeping the Stormbreath Dragon was greedy, but hitting them for 3 this early doesn't really mean a whole lot, and the odds of us just drawing land after land after land didn't seem very high, but it's definitely happening. Making 1 more land drop means that we can Solemgar, so probably going to start holding lands after that. Hissing Quagmire is a pretty good addition for them. Yep, alright. So we can K-Command a Draconic Roar if opponent ends up leading on a bigger creature. Otherwise, we're looking at just top decking. The fact that they have 6 cards in hand is not great, though. They're also not activating the Hissing Quagmire, which means that we're probably falling behind. Dragon Tempest is a must-answer threat because it gives all of our dragons haste, which is something that they seem to be struggling with. It looks like Oko is their primary removal. Dragon Tempest pinging is also pretty deadly. Guess they don't care. So that means that they're either taxed on counter spells, so they only have like 1 counter spell, or alright, so big dig through time. I guess they could just think it's better for them to cast a dig through time than to try to answer a Dragon Tempest this turn. Which seems fair. Like, they get to go get 2 threats or 2 counter spells or 2 kill spells or whatever they feel is relevant. Okay, I think I'm going to take my 2-for-1 here. Because they haven't shown me anything that's going to care about the Draconic Roar yet, so at least getting a card out of them here seems like it's going to be alright. We're really struggling, though. Top decking Treasure Cruise or Dragon Horde would be viable. Looking for a threat, though. Mold of 5 was not very kind to us. Look like it might be a Hissing Quagmire activation. Nope. Get Frog incoming. Oh, Frasca. Okay. That's going to be hard to answer. That's an okay card, though. Still gets hit by Fatal Push if opponent kept it in. It's a little hard to trigger Revolt, but with all the treasures and food tokens, I could definitely see opponent's deck pulling it off easier than other decks. Again, keeping Mountain in hand for Sarkhan so that we can loot if we top deck one. Don't know how much that's actually going to hurt us. I feel like you'd want to leave that up for your Get Frog. Okay, yep, that's why. No Dragon Tempest means we've only got a couple of cards that we care about, and lands are not one of them. Alright, well, we might be losing this one. Some reactivatable filtering would be good. I could see something like Royal Scions also taking a decent slot or just going up to 4 Sarkhans. Maybe just a 2-2 split. Yeah. I think we'll give this 1, maybe 2 more turns, see if opponent commits to anything else. But like next turn they get to activate Hissing Quagmire and hit us for 6, and then the following turn it's going to be for 10, putting us at 2 life. Could also see them just... yeah, they're leaving all their mana up. I'm expecting another dig through time here. Okay, we're done. We have a lot of lands, but we need a lot of mana to cast our dragons, so that was a pretty decisive loss versus Sultai. Opponent had some pretty good cards, though, and we had to mulligan to Oblivion, but Dragons has been doing alright. Trying to figure out if it's worth trying to get the Silumgar Scorn in here. The 2-mana Force Spike is just so bad, though. Like, Censor at least having Cycling seems like it'd be pretty good. The double blue just seems really hard to pull off early enough that'll make a difference. Okay, this is going to be Fabled Passage for red. Nope, can't do that. The fact that we're keeping this, but the fact that we're on the play means that these Fabled Passages are probably going to have to go get red. The Draconic Roar is online, though. Sarkhan can help filter us out of additional land drops. Like, our guys are going to do what they want to do. We've got Is It across from us, which could be just any number of things. I'm going to do Mountain. It just maximizes our chances of drawing something that's like a red check land. Nope. Alright. Well, this will come in on tap down 4. This requires a swamp. I think we're on Drowned Catacomb. Alternatively, Fabled Passage, go get a swamp, then both these come in untapped. I like that better. Plus, this doesn't tell opponent what our other colors are, just that we're red. Spire Bluff. Chart of Course. So maybe blue-red tempo? Could be Godpharaoh's Gift. Discarding Tormenting Voice. Okay, so this is Phoenix. So we have some pretty fun options here. Definitely okay playing against Phoenix. Ah, and look at that. Dragon Skull Summit. So with opponent being tapped out, I think I want to resolve my Planeswalker. Him getting hit by a Phoenix is going to be bad, but we still get some filtering. Castle Lochlann can be good in the future. I like all of these cards, though. We currently have no blue, but Sarkhan can filter us into a Bolas or a Silumgar at this point, so I guess it's Drowned Catacombs. Alright, and Blood Crypt is just more mana. We'll probably loot that away next turn. I could also see casting Thunderbreak off of Sarkhan and leaving up Draconic Roar. Okay. This is a looting effect for them to get an additional Phoenix into the yard. But with them being tapped out, I don't know. Does this actually... What do I care about that opponent's going to do? They clearly haven't found a Phoenix yet. If they get a creature, my Thunderbreak's going to be bigger than theirs. So let's just loot and see if we get something like a Bolas that I actually want to put into play this turn. We can discard Blood Crypt. We have plenty of that mana, and we found another land. Might just have one too many of those lands. Well, seeing as how they are a pseudo-burn deck, I guess that means we're going to put Castle Lochlann into play and just cast Thunderbreak Regent. We can see what opponent's going to do, but hopefully my 4/4 is going to beat their 3/2. Discarding Sweltering Suns. So expecting Thing in the Ice at the bare minimum. They look like they're struggling. Like, they look like things have just not panned out for them. And if this keeps up, we might be ulting Sarkhan. Tormenting Voice, discarding Temple. They're all over the place. Alright, that's a Glorybringer. So at this point, I think I am just going to use Sarkhan for mana. I think the Draconic Roar is going to be higher value, especially if I'm attacking with both creatures this turn. So let's go ahead and just add red, tap our basics, Glorybringer, then shock this into play. We'll get our 8 on. Then I currently have 5 in hand, which will leave opponent at 1 life. Assuming they play a creature. Draconic Roar can only hit a creature, but... Okay. They are all about the looting and have found nothing worth looting yet. This might just be a treasure cruise into hopefully a Thing in the Ice. Okay, well, treasure cruise called. Charted course. Am I missing like a Sphinx's revelation or something? I feel like I'm really missing something. Steam Vents tapped. Okay. Then they're going to have to discard to hand size. Little confused on what's going on over there. Discarding Steam Vents. Okay. Well, pitch the blue source. Don't really have much we care about there. Crux of Fate doesn't really accomplish anything. But we can go ahead and attack, and if we get comboed, I suppose we get comboed. I'm expecting at least Dictative Crucifix out of their deck if they're just trying to draw cards. I'd assume Sphinx's Tutelage is their win condition. They loot away a Tormenting Voice, and they're inciting again. All we've really shown is a couple of dragons. Like, I don't know if I want to reveal any of our control elements. They can assume that we have them, but... This honestly looks like one of my arena decks that's built to just cast spells so I can finish quests. Okay, they conceded. Spell Pierce, Collected Brutality coming in. Duress could be a consideration. I think I'm taking out the Wild Slashes. Draconic Roar can't actually answer Thing in the Ice, which is about the only thing in the deck I can assume that they have. Ashiok's coming in for sure. There's probably an argument for Unmoored Ego. I'm assuming resolving an early Unmoored Ego on Sphinx's tutelage can close this game out. But seeing as how this is a new format and people are doing a lot of new things, I can't really just bank on that. Crux of Fate is just slow and terrible. I think I'd prefer either Unmoored Ego or Foul Tongue over that. Foul Tongue can at least answer a Thing in the Ice and gain me some life if they are a burn deck, where Unmoored Ego can stop whatever they're doing. They appear to be just a combo deck and they require their graveyard, so maybe just bring this in over the board clear. Dreadbore seems pretty safe to assume that they have something like Narset. Spitflame can answer Thing in the Ice. I don't think their creatures are attacking me. That's probably just the other Unmoored Ego. Excuse me. Worst case, I can see what they're doing to see if they had a really cool idea. Assuming that I take a look at their entire deck. And this is a moderately interactive hand with a clock. I'm good to keep that. Opponent's currently on 6 cards. So this is going to be turn 1, Duress off the Blood Crypt, turn 2, hold up Spell Pierce with a Shock. I don't know if I want to 4 myself this early. Okay, well they're going to have at least Tormenting Voice. Okay, forget it. We're just going to Urborg. Oh, look at that. They had 2 tutelages. Called it. So I take 1 here, and then I Spell Pierce on 3. Seems fair. So I'm expecting Island Charticourse out of opponent. They might leave up the negate. Yeah, leaving up the negate is... Alright, well, they've got to know that I have some amount of counter magic if I'm taking the shock, but there's no way I'm not going to at least keep up the Spell Pierce. The Dragon's Tempest is a card that helps, but I can always put it down next turn with Spell Pierce backup for the tutelage. Oh, and they missed a land. Dreadbore's looking a little silly at the moment. Well, Mountain's technically a Blood Crypt. We can Dragon Tempest, see if opponent wants to negate it. But we'll just hold up the Spell Pierce. Yep. Honestly, don't care if I keep Dragon's Tempest or not. It's just there to ping little things. There's the Charticourse. So I could counter this, but they're not actually investing the card that they had to discard yet. And I really just want the Spell Pierce for tutelage whenever it comes down. And there's an island. Okay, well, I'm not going to cast the Thunderbreak because I want to leave up the Pierce. So run out the tap land just so I don't have to take the life. It looks like opponent's going to try to mill me, so the life likely doesn't matter. But if I'm not going to use the land, I'm not going to pay for it. And they did use the negate I knew about. Okay, so Fabled Passage will get a land untapped. So if this island wasn't in my hand, I could leave up the Spell Pierce still. I suppose now I'm just going to have to actually cast this. Leaving up the Steam Vents because it represents the most colors. And then hopefully my 4/4 will be able to get there. If they run out the tutelage next turn and leave up mana for the Spell Pierce, they're going to be moderately far behind. And then something like a Silumgar could actually just steal the tutelage so I won't get milled out. Yep, so I'm going to let this go since they're playing around my Spell Pierce. I'm not just going to throw a card away, but that is worth countering. Now they only have 2 cards left, and they're under the pressure of my 4/4. Hopefully drawing a Glorybringer. That's fine. So blue's my least needed color. We can go ahead and loot away the Fabled Passage. minor thing here, but Fabled Passage will actually make us go one card down by tutoring it out of our deck. And wow, our deck has not been kind with the mana. I know we have 24 lands, but that should not be too many. Hit a land and a Glorybringer. There's a Treasure Cruise, a lot of mill triggers. Nothing repeating colors, though. 5 cards in hand, 3 mana. Ugh, not great spot. Tormenting Voice. Mills a bit more. Nothing relevant. Alright, that's a lot of mill, though. So I think I actually do want to play out some lands in case I have to K-command, pick up one of the Glorybringers, hit for 4 more. That is disgusting. Come on, deck, be kind. There is a K-command. So K-command, I can pick up a 4-drop. 4-drop would be... Oh, nope, that's definitely picking up Dragonlord Silumgar next turn because then... Oh, it doesn't hit an enchantment. Okay. So K-command can hit Glorybringer, Silumgar, which is only a 3/5. I can pick up Thunderbreak and then just have 2 4/4s on the table. Hit for 4, opponent will be at 14. Then I need to be able to hit for 6 more. Okay, well, let's try to make this clock a little bit better. We're going to hit you for 2 and pick up our 4, 3. Yep, Dragon Skull Summit. So, return target creature, hit you for 2. We'll pick up Thunderbreak Regent. Cast this guy. Yeah, I don't need Spitflame. No thank you. Hit you for 4. And looking for something to hit for 6. It's not impossible, but not a huge fan of it. Definitely pulling out all removal. Yep, Ulcerate's bad. Collective Brutality is kind of fine. There's another tutelage. So this is going to mill us for 2, repeat if it's the same color, mills for 2, repeat if it's the same color. So we get 6 different activations before we're dead. So that's only draw 3. Is this Treasure Cruise? Alright, that should mill us out. Oh, no, I'm bad at math. Alright, we have 12 left. K-command should be lethal. Glorybringer should be lethal. That's a Duress. First things first, loot away the Dreadbore. We just looted you away. Let's take a peek. How dead are we? Sweltering Sun, Spell Pierce, Spell Pierce. So they're going to draw 1 for turn. They can activate a tutelage, so we're not actually dead yet. Let's take away the Sweltering Suns because it cycles, and then we can go ahead and hit them for 8, and it's onto them to whiff on their top deck. Not an impossible position, but if they just activate this, okay. Yep, that does it. Alright, well, Unmoored Ego was a good call. I think that... Oh my gosh, all this is terrible. Wild Slash, I can at least target the opponent. Ulcerate's bad. Spitflame's bad. Honestly, Dragonlord Silumgar's bad at that point. It's a 6-mana 3/5. Okay, look for a faster hand. Love to play first. We get Spell Pierce Dragon Tempest. We can do better. Oh, Lord. Alright, well. Yep, Dreadbore's bad. Let's hit some land drops and escalate the crap out of this guy. I could go to 5, but when a lot of our deck is 4 and 5 drops, mulliganing is not very good with this deck. where at least here I get to collect a Brutality and escalate. We'll 2-mode you. And let's pitch a Steam Vents. Yeah, I already have a lot of blue out here. Thrill of Possibility. They do have 2 tutelages. I guess we take... This is going to make them pitch a land. They only have 3 lands. Let's take the Thrill of Possibility. Radiant Fountain gaining them life is going to be pretty good. If you're new to Pioneer and you didn't see Radiant Fountain in Standard, this is actually going to be a pretty good card in this format. Oh boy. Not like this deck, not like this. Okay, they are respecting the Spell Pierce. I was running out my blue sources as like an intimidation of like, I have blue mana untapped. But wow, that is just absolutely horrible. So opponent gets to... Yeah, alright. Well, at least he has haste. I think in a world of minimally acceptable, them playing around Spell Pierce and then me Glory Bringing them is the start. I need another hasty threat. Up, and they didn't top deck their land, so they actually ran this out early. But they get to draw 2. Honestly, not hitting much of significance. They did hit a Thunderbreak and a Bolus, but that's it. I mean, Ashiok's technically a card. So we get to eat their yard, at least turning off treasure cruises. And then they're probably going to run out the other tutelage. And then probably the Thrill. So clock's getting smaller, but so many frickin' lands. Dragons does not goldfish very quickly. Yep, there's the tutelage. Then we have a Thrill coming. Or just a Tormenting Voice. Gradient Fountain puts them up to 14. Silumgar would have been better than the Dreadbore had I actually seen it in my list. Okay, that's fine. 2 modes. Reveal, drain. You discard. This should take away the Thrill, or maybe a Cruise or something. Yeah, let's take away the Thrill, and then they have to hard cast the Treasure Cruise. We're going to eat the yard just so that they can't actually delve away. And we've got opponent on a 3-turn clock, but they've got 2 active tutelages and can actually activate the ability, so we're looking at milling at least 4 times a turn. Come on, Hasty Dragon. Lame. I guess activating Ashiok there is a little loose, but I have a opponent on a 2-turn clock anyway, so Ashiok's going to be sticking around for the moment. So, Chart of Courses, Thought, Tormenting Voices. I mean, I'm fine with all of that. I mean, them drawing multiple cards over and over is going to be a problem. So, hard cast Treasure Cruise. Mill 6 times. Alright, looks like we might be able to steal this. Honestly, don't think we deserve that. Opponent gave us the GG. Running out Thunderbreak here doesn't actually do anything. There's no Pact of Slaughter or anything like that, so just wrap it up. That was close. Goldfishing just barely quick enough. Alright, well, dragons are doing dragon things. Again, the card that keeps coming back to mind is probably the Silumgar Scorn. The 2-mana Force Spike mode is just so awful. I really, really don't want to run a 2-mana Force Strike. Yes, we have dragons most of the time, but I think we might be a little heavy on lands. I know that this isn't standard, but can we keep this? We're on the draw. We have a Dragon Tempest. We're going to be able to... This is the wrong Sarkhan. This is 5-mana Sarkhan from War of the Spark. We have 3 turns to draw 2 lands. We actually have a couple of 1-drops. We're going to try to do a little bit better. Oh yeah, that's so much better. We even got the good Sarkhan. And I think that means we're just tucking a land. With this Sarkhan, I don't care about the blue source. Urborg's actually going to fix our opponent, though. This is likely going to be Blood Crypt on 1, so we can Ulcerator Slash, and then these come in on tap. So let's tuck the Urborg. Mana has definitely been an issue, though. Alright, there's a Gilded Goose that's going to eat a Wild Slash. This is looking like it's going to be the Sultai Food deck. Oko, and this might even be 4-color. There's JVP, who's going to die. Really wish I could kill him off the K command, but I guess it's going to be the next thing. Opponent Oko in here is going to be a problem. But Oko's a strong card. Alright, tapped means no Oko. Alright, well, removal's lining up quite nicely. Let's go ahead and just kill this JVP since their graveyard's kind of full and they might have kept their hand speculatively. So you're going to discard. I'm going to kill JVP. Then next turn can be Thunderbreak or maybe Sarkhan. Depends on what we see from opponent here. If they run out a creature, I have to Thunderbreak. If they don't, I might be looking at Sarkhan just to bait the Oko that they might be holding. They had another JVP. Okay, whatever. We're running it back. And then I'm going to leave up blue, potentially bluffing a Spell Pierce here. I think holding up the Spell Pierce is a little bit better than the Wild Slash. Typically having JVP is supposed to act as a Snapcaster for this -3, so they should have a lot of creatures in their deck. Or non-creatures, sorry. Okay, that hurts. That hurts a lot. Also expecting the opponent to have a Deathrite Shaman at this point. I'm kind of okay at 4 lands. If I top deck a land, that might put me on Sarkhan. Okay, well, I guess opponent gets to tell me what I get to cast. Alright, well, they got the best 2 of 6, so... Be a little surprised if they don't put a land out here. Oh, I get my land. Sarkhan being able to cast Silumgar, just buy Mountain. I don't really need you. Look at that, I found another Thunderbreak. Guess we'll see if they found more discard. Seem a little weird since we're on top decks, but they definitely top decked this Fabled Passage. They did not make a land drop last turn. There's a Frasca, so they get to hit my Sarkhan. That's pretty nasty. Alright, then I think I'm going to run out the land. Opponent has discard, so I could try to bluff the Thoughtseize, but if I draw Silumgar, I don't want to be 2 turns away from being able to cast it. If I draw Sarkhan, I can just run him out and plus no activation. Or plus no... It's not Fel Defined. I'm forgetting the word. Basically say that I'm activating him, but decline to take the action. Okay, I sworn there's a short way to say that. But pause here makes me think opponent doesn't have anything, so I should be able to take out Frasca. That was gain 4 life, destroy target Planeswalker, so pretty good Frasca. Might be sacking the food here. Yep. Draw a card, gain a life. This Frasca did work for him. That's not good. There's an Oko. So Elking the Thunderbreak more than likely. And then Goose gets to block for it. I don't know. They might actually Elk the food token. Oko's so strong. Alright, Elking the Thunderbreak. So I'm looking for probably K command. Pick up my Thunderbreak, kill the Goose, and then I can kill Frasca. Oh, that's fine too. So we're going to hit you, and then... Oh, nope, I don't hit opponent because it's an Elk now. Yay, Oko! And now the food token gets to block my Thunderbreak. So I guess I'm looking for Dreadbore now? Or Glorybringer. Glorybringer could be pretty good. Wow, look at all those Planeswalkers. Yeah, I was going to be a little surprised if they didn't get in. The 1 damage doesn't really make too much of a difference here. Alright, well, Dreadbore was a fine draw. Then I suppose that means I get to attack Lily. But my little tiny Thunderbreak here isn't going to do much against the Lily. She's just going to keep her neutral. So another Dreadbore, K-Command, Glorybringer, Silumgar. Picking up the Golden Goose? Yeah, they picked up the Gilded Goose. Alright. So Wild Slash becomes lethal? Nope, of course, has another Liliana. Shrinky Dinks, Thunderbreak Elk. That's a draw. Costs 7, so I'm a little ways away from activating. I'm going to bounce off the Gilded Goose. Yeah, whatever. I have a Bolus. I have to cast a Bolus. Then opponent has to figure out what to shrink. Shrinking Bolus means food can't attack in. Shrinking Thunderbreak means food can't attack in. That's a pretty good top deck from opponent. Alright. Well, Clock is pretty real. That's a Wild Slash. I don't think that does anything at the moment. I'm not going to trade a Wild Slash and a Thunderbreak for a food token. That just doesn't work. Gilded Goose can actually start creating food, though. That's going to be a problem. Lily is somewhat close to ulting. I think we're going to kill the Gilded Goose when they activate it. No, what we need to do is we need to attack Lily for this turn and then kill this. They get to create a food in response, but we at least get to chip 1 more point into Lily. Yep. Man, if it weren't for that Oko, opponent would have died to this thing turns and turns and turns ago. But instead it's going to be chump blocking for me next turn, assuming opponent didn't draw removal in their removal deck. Alright, and that's a Fabled Passage, so I'm going to hang on to that on the off chance that I draw a Sarkon post chump blocking, but looking kind of bad. Even if we find a way to get out of this, it basically needs to be a Glorybringer, otherwise Lily's going to ult. Top decking a Silumgar, I can actually run out the Fabled Passage and take control of Lily and maybe get back in this. But, yeah, that's a Bolus. I guess we'll see if opponent has anything else. They already know we have Bolus in the deck, so we're only going to gain information by delaying this. Discarded a Fabled Passage, seems fine. I need to run out this Fabled Passage, though, because if I top deck another land, that means that I get to flip my Bolus. Opponent didn't know I had this Fabled Passage, and they might be on Deathrite Shaman. Yep, that's going to do it. Not going to lie, a little bit of good running from opponent there, but, I mean, Oko is just a fantastic card. Can't say much about that. Okay, they're not a combo deck. Unmoored Ego's not coming in. They did care about their yard, so Ashiok can make a good home here. This actually might just be a Pioneer staple if Cruise and Dig Through Time never get banned. Like, it's just a really good card. It doesn't shut off fetch lands, but it does shut off some of the more unfair tutor effects. Duress when they're all on Planeswalkers seems fine. Spell Pierce when they're all on Planeswalkers seems fine. Ulcerate seems a little bit on the worst side. This can actually answer any of the Elk tokens, though, so that might be worth it. Draconic Roar just does it better, though. Spit Flame is recursible answers. Silumgar stills their Planeswalker. Crux might be bad here. It is a one-sided board clear, but when all their creatures are either tokens or elks, just meh. Foul Tongue, I mean, it's removal, but we have a ton of removal. K-Command can get rid of food tokens, clue tokens. Can also just ping things and buy back our creatures. Dragon's Horde is just going to get elked. If we're looking for cuts, it might just be expensive things that just get elked. Sarkhan, I mean, if they're elks, they're elks. I just really don't want to have to deal with Oko in this deck. I don't know. There's a couple of considerations for everything, but since Wild Slash doesn't answer the Elks and I'm bringing in Ulcerate, that might be the trade there. Just try to play a little bit more of a control shell. Yeah, another time that I'm like Silumgar Scorn could be pretty decent. Okay, this is Dragon Tempest, Draconic Roar, K-Command, Sarkhan. These are all actually fantastic cards. I'd love to see a little bit more land, but the way that our deck's been treating us, we're definitely going to draw it. I'm expecting Thoughtseize out of opponent on 1, so I'm probably going to play the Blood Crypt tapped. Opponent is currently at 6. Alright, that's tap Blood Crypt. Alright, Fabled Passage means opponent has nothing at the moment, so we can run out our Dragon Tempest. And I don't know if I want to aggressively K-Command again. Last time it really backfired where they just turned cards into hand into mana for Dig Through Time. I would assume they have to take Sarkhan here. I could see an argument for K-Command. I don't know. Sarkhan is going to be the best value long-term and also risks ulting and ramping us, where K-Command is just a value card. If they're trying to play a control shell, K-Command is a 2-for-1, and Sarkhan's kind of just card quality. Any future dragons are just future dragons that get Assassin's Trophied, where this is 2 modes that must be answered. I think I'd prefer to keep the Sarkhan in hand, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the correct play for opponent. It depends on what their hand is. Draconic Roar is also pretty solid. Yep, bye Sarkhan. You tried. There's an Ulcerate. Odds of me K-Commanding here. Probably not. Opponent just sent me an oops, so that probably wasn't the intention. But we'll see. Oh, they didn't play a land. That's what the oops was. Yep. Well, if they have an Oko coming down, they have an Oko coming down. I guess we'll Sarkhan and give them a target to Elk. Let's go ahead and discard the Wild Slash. We can play the Blood Crypt. If we get Elked, we're going to want the mana. Yep. That's a strong card. Well, I went for food token first. Alright, I would love a dragon to punish that. I am a happy planeswalker. They're just going to Assassin's Trophy me, but... Oh, nope, no answer. Alright. I suppose that's a way for that to go down. Yeah, I think Duress is going to be a little bit better than Wild Slash here. Maybe even Spitflame. Spitflame's a ton of value, though. Thunderbreak's gonna at least ping them for 3. I don't know. Maybe 1 Collective Brutality is gonna be better. I just really, really want to take out answers for my stuff. We have 10 Planeswalkers, which is a 1/6 of our deck. Like, that's respectable, but given the fact that they come down on turn 4, like, 4 Assassin's Trophies can match our deck fairly well. And then on top of that, they can elk things and shrink them, and Thunderbreak, pinging them for 3 anytime that they activate a Planeswalker against it's going to be kind of a viable clock. Okay, this hand is gorgeous with 1 more land. Do I get to be greedy and keep it? How many lands do I actually have? That's probably a question worth answering. I have 24 lands. But one of them is Fabled Passage. Yeah, we gotta... Okay, a little bit better. As far as tucking, we're going to Duress on 1. Then we're probably going to Dragon Tempest on 2. Spitflame's probably the worst card here, but yeah, Spitflame's the worst card here. Ashiok's going to keep them off of Dig Through Time. That's a Goose. That's a Brutality. Alright, well, that might be the new turn 2 play. Let's see what's in their hand. Thoughtseize, Oko, Drown in the Lock, Fatal Push. Fatal Push isn't very good against us, but they do currently have a turn 2 Oko lined up, assuming they top deck a land. I think I'm taking the Oko and just saying they can take whatever they want with the Thoughtseize. Collective Brutality is either going to get drowned or take the drown. Their hand wasn't great, but they do have 2 mana open. With the Gilded Goose here and the other one in hand, I probably would be too surprised to see the Draconic Roar get taken. Collective Brutality is a bigger problem long term, but if we top deck a dragon, then Draconic Roar takes away their mana dork, their ability to continue generating food tokens. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Collective Brutality is the pick. Keeps us out of their hand and killing their creatures. Snagging that Oko is just such huge gains for us. Yeah, Fatal Push can only hit Thunderbreak. Well, they hit their other land. So, looks like Collective Brutality now. Collective Brutality, pitch Ashiok. They don't have any blue available, and they showed us Dig Through Time, so they can leave up a single color here, but we know their hand. Yeah, let's 2-mode. We're going to Duress and kill your Golden Goose. Hit you, hit that. Probably help if I actually played a land first, though. -2/-2 Duress. We're going to hit you, hit that. And pitch Ashiok. Then we can answer the Golden Goose, and hopefully we just top deck a little bit better. Opponent has a dead card in hand, and that's all we know about. They can start generating food tokens if they get stuck, but hopefully we'll take that away with the Draconic Roar top decking a Thunderbreak Regent. Can I be greedy and ask for a Thunderbreak Regent? Or Sarkhan. Sarkhan would actually be pretty good here too. Oh, there's a Stormbreath Dragon. Not the worst. They are going to... whatever. They have blue in their deck. Let's just handle this now while we know their hand. Oh my gosh, I didn't reveal the dragon. Well, this isn't going to come in untapped anyway, so let's just go get it now. Opponent should be at 15. Alright, that's a Blood Crypt. One more landed, and we have an active Stormbreath Dragon, which is fine. Pro-white doesn't really mean a whole lot, though. But it is a 4/4 haste. Yeah, I hate that guy. So I at least get to make him humble and chip him down to 1, but he still gets to elk me and leave a food token back. So going to be looking for Wild Slash or honestly any of the removal. I think my only Wild Slash is... No, it's in the deck. Ulcerate would remove the food token blocking it, or, you know, just Treasure Cruise, draw a ton of cards. I like that too. Removal! Not quite removal, but that's okay. Opponent just messaged me and saying back-to-back draws, and it's like, nope, I had the Thunder Breath, the Storm Breath. I was looking for lands, and you put Treasure Cruise in the deck for those draws. I probably should have attacked before running out Thunderbreak, but we both knew that this was how this is going down. Oh, nope, no, opponent gets to Fatal Push me. Well, what can you do? These are our cards. Opponent should be at 12, though, assuming that we had actually Draconic Roar correctly. They can just crack the food and push anyway, so just gotta get that out of the way. Opponent should be at 10. Alright, that's a Fabled Passage. I only have one more basic left in my deck. I have enough for all of my stuff. I think I'm going to keep the lands in hand. If I draw a Bolus, I'll run out the additional land so I can flip him the following turn, assuming he doesn't get elked when he's going to get elked. But yep. Alright, well, Oko does Oko things, I think is the takeaway there. Don't think there's much answer there other than maybe having some number of Pithing Needles on the side. Pithing Needle can name Oko, but it really doesn't fix problems. It just keeps Oko from activating, and then most of the time they have something like an Assassin's Trophy to blow it away. So your single card doesn't actually protect you all that well. Opponent was also running Frasca, so she could just Abrupt Decay the Pithing Needle. Like, you have to be able to answer and kill Oko, and a 4-power Hasty Dragon just is not good enough to cut it. So maybe moving up to 3 Dread Boars or adding some Bedevils or Heroes Downfalls could be something worth considering. This hand is a little too slow. With Treasure Cruise, we want removal spells, and we kind of just want to Dragon on curve, so having one of these is fine, but with 10% of our deck being dragons, we don't want 50% of our hand dragons. Okay, this is fine. We're going to tuck probably Glorybringer. That doesn't feel good. He costs the most, though. Now we get to Wild Slash on 1. Should we need it? From what I've seen from this format so far, only red ends up running out 1-drops, and I really don't want to Steam Vents to get rid of a Monastery Swiftspear. Running out Fabled Passage doesn't tell opponent what our deck is. They could be ready for burn, mono white, Grixis Dragons, Sultai Food. Okay, so they left up Push or Wild Slash. I need a Swamp or a Mountain. The sand, I want more red. So I think I want to plan on turn 3 K command, which means I'm going to put this in tapped. Wild Slash should be able to answer most things I care about out of opponent. The read I'm currently getting is I'm getting Wild Slash at end step and then probably Eidolon on 2. That may or may not be correct. Taking a shock off the Blood Crypt seems kind of aggressive. Okay. Death Shadow isn't legal in this format. This might be Mardu Super Friends. Bolus is a fine draw. Not really sure what to expect out of opponent over here. Anguished Unmaking's on my radar. Sorengrim Nemesis. I haven't seen a Mardu deck yet, though. Mentor. Okay, I don't believe there are any free spells. Oh, okay. Yeah, I actually know what this is. This is going to be Mardu, Mentor, Pyromancer control. Young Pyromancer and Mentor in the same deck, just trying to cast instants and sorceries for value to get a bunch of tokens and go wide. Seems a little weird that they'd run out Mentor like that. Missing a land there is very, very unideal. But with them discarding a land, I'm expecting maybe a Mentor, another land, and then something to go with it. Alright, taking a shock. There's the Mentor. Okay, no Thoughtseize to follow it up. I think my plan is to hit that. Let's do this correctly. Reveal a dragon. Hit that. Pay for it. Reveal Thunderbreak. I don't want them to see Bolus yet in case they have removal. I'd prefer they target the Thunderbreak with it. Then they have to cast 2 spells off of 1 mana to keep Mentor alive here. So they might cash out for a Monk and just Wild Slash me. And they don't. Yay! Really needed that. Alright, well here's the Thunderbreak. They would need Fatal Push with Revolt. Multiple burn spells, which means the opponent will take 6. Is this another Mentor? Murderous Cut. That's fair. Yep, opponent takes 3 though. Then that means that Bolus should be able to survive. If we hit a land, I might even Sarkhan first just to get a token out there. Yeah, that seems fine. Plus, I actually want to resolve this guy. Put him into the deck. We should actually cast him once. So whenever a creature attacks you or Planeswalker you control, each dragon hits it for 1, which is great versus tokens. And then I can make it a 4/4, but it won't have haste. So let's go ahead and just create a token. Opponent can Wild Slash it, but it's still 5 mana for a 4/4, which is fine in this situation. Also gets a burn spell out of their hand. Alright, Fatal Push is perfectly acceptable as well. Now I get a Bolus, Wild Slash, and hopefully activate Sarkhan, hit for 8. Ping them to death. Well, I guess he's not attacking yet. Bolus isn't. But Sarkhan can hit for 4. Okay. So, opponent has officially run us out of some gas. With them having K commands, I think I'm supposed to just run out this Fabled Passage. If they have a Murderous Cut, they can actually cast it here, but I don't have options. Oh, that was a great snag. Alright, and then one more land means Nicky B can flip. Opponent messaged me, perfect Bolus. Alright. That's a really good top deck. I am going to Fabled Passage to Thin just minimally. We're going to have a non-zero number of turns here. Oh yeah, this is going to feel great. We're going to return a creature, ping Chandra. So let's pick up Nicky and ping Chandra. And now opponent needs to find discard for Bolus. That felt amazing. And a Smuggler's Copter. That's not actually going to fix mana for my opponent. I actually think I want to run that out next turn. Backside of Bolus is draw 2 cards, so never mind. I want to run it out now in case I draw a land off of the backside and opponent can't answer him. Alright, land there means Bolus is going to make contact and flip. And opponent just scoops it up. Yeah, backside of Bolus is really hard to beat. So they are creature beats. Anger of the Gods comes in. I could see Duress. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I could see it. Foul Tongue is all-time worse here. Sack a creature, they'll just cast a spell and sack the token. Crux of Fate being one-sided is great. We're going to really lean on the back of our board clears here. Spit Flame's going to show some value as being pickable up multiple times. Dreadbore is only staying in because I saw Chandra. Dreadbore and a Young Pyromancer is typically falling behind on board state, but Chandra is going to be really hard to answer, especially if she just comes down and removes our only dragon. K command still great. Ulcerate can hit a single prowess Monastery Mentor, so that probably needs to stay in. Wild Slash can answer the Young Pyromancer. We're making 2 cuts. Storm Breath doesn't get around Murderous Cut. It can't be hit by Fatal Push. If they have Anguish Dunmaking as their unconditional removal, it's probably fine. Glorybringer might not be attacking so much. I really don't want to trim dragons. This guy will ping all their tokens, so he needs to stay in. It might just be the... Let's trim one of each of these. I'm not sure which one the right call is. This will also hit opponent, and actually this can kill a mentor that's pumped. Let's do that. The 1 mana removal seems like it's going to be at a premium, removing something like a Young Pyromancer on 2, but you have to make some considerations. This should be similar to Mardu Pyromancer in Modern. I think having a good number of cards is better than having the perfect cards. I'm expecting discard out of opponent. Yeah, let's just hang on to it. Then I can use Fabled Passage to go get... Honestly, doesn't matter. Okay, so that means no Thoughtseize out of opponent, but this could be a Young Pyromancer. If it's a Young Pyromancer, I can just ulcerate it during my turn. Yeah, I liked opponent's play. Let's just run it back. Okay, that is not what I was expecting. So Fabled Passage here is likely going to go get us our blue source. I want to leave up the Ulcerate for a turn 3 Mentor if opponent goes turn 3 Mentor again. Yep. And I'll happily pay 3 life to get rid of that. Getting the island here just for color fixing. And then we get to Dragon Skull Summit. Now, I can leave up K command, but if opponent runs out another Mentor, that really doesn't accomplish a whole lot. I think I might just be on Dragon Tempest here and bluff removal. If opponent ends up filling the board a lot, I can just anger everything away. If they end up just running out one thing, I can K command to buy some time. Okay, that's fine. 2 cards in hand. I currently have enough mana for Sarkhan. If they plus Gideon, he could be a problem long term. I really want to make them discard here, but I don't think that it's correct to do it now. Gideon's Emblem could also be a problem long term. But next turn I get a Sarkhan. Then we're going to be able to ping it with Dragon Tempest. Sorry. Yep. So hit you, kill that. And then because of Dragon Tempest, the creature will enter with haste, so I'll be able to hit Gideon for 5 next turn while leaving up my Planeswalker. That's assuming they don't have any removal, which is why I'm really trying to field for discard here. Alright, that's a Dreadbore. So that means that they have at least 2 pieces of gas in hand. That's not great for me. That's really not great for me. Do I take the hit from Gideon? I think I have to. Alternatively, Sarkhan kill Gideon, let Mentor go away for a turn. If opponent has a Fatal Push, it all goes downhill from here, though. This is the play that determines the game. So what are the odds here? They have a Fatal Push, then my token dies. And they get a Monk token, then they untap and they're on a top deck. If I just K-command, I leave a mana up, they might be able to protect this, and then I take 8, 9 next turn. I'm at 12. Yeah, that's not okay. I think I have to take the hit from Gideon, which means it's going to be a Spit Flame on the Mentor before draw step. And I'm waiting until upkeep so that the token won't have prowess. Or won't have haste. Then if I top deck a land, I can Sarkhan get the dragon and pick up Spit Flame. I don't think they could protect Mentor there, but that was the play that I decided to go with, so it's hard to take it back now. Painful Truths, draw 3 cards. That's pretty good. Leaving mana up for Young Pyromancer. That's fine. And they created a Knight, so I still get to kill Gideon here. And I get to pick up the Spit Flame. Fantastic. Alright. Then if they try to attack me, I'll have a token, at least until... So we're going to hit Gideon. We're going to pick up Spit Flame. Then we're going to attack Gideon. Ooh, boy. That was a play. This has been a good game, opponent. I've been having fun. Alright, so they need to answer my dragon. Oh, they have another Gideon? Don't emblem. Don't do it. Actually, that might be fine. I think I'm planning on angering here. So if they attack with the Young Pyromancer before hitting the dragon, Sarkhan's going to kill the Young Pyromancer. But I have anger set up, and I can... Sad panda. Alright, so Sarkhan's going down. I get to anger away the board and have to deal with a Gideon. Definitely been in harder spots. Gideon does get indestructible when he becomes a creature, so I can't just burn it down. Man, my mana is not working out great. So Dragon Tempest will let me ping off the Young Pyromancer and take 5 next turn, kill Gideon. I think that's the only real line I can take here. Gideon's been a long-term problem, so let's ping the Young Pyromancer, give Thunderbreak haste. Then we're taking 5. We can try to anger away the board. Really depends on what opponent draws. Bedlam Reveler is going to be kind of expensive. Another Young Pyromancer is fine. Honestly, even if they kill my Thunderbreak, I think we come back at this point. Deck and Stone. Yep. I get a clue. Need to make sure I'm not yielding because I'm cracking that. Hey, it's my favorite clue. It's the Avacyn one. Okay, opponent has no cards in hand. I just want to F6. So... Oh, and there's a Bolus. This is just mean. Anger away your board. Then we're going to cast a Nikki B because it's so much fun casting Nicol Bolus. We get to ping you for 1, give him haste, you discard a non-existent card, and that's the game. Alright, well, we can open up our chest. Let's start with that. Sarkhan's Unsealing. Oh, magic, magic, magic. Never change. Okay, so what do we care about Grixis Dragons? Ulcerate showed to be good versus Monastery Mentor. It also showed to be pretty decent versus Food Token, but Food Token has a lot of problems there. I don't think we're ever going to beat Oko. Like, I just don't think we can beat Oko. Oko is a problem on multiple levels, but the fact that his Beast Within is a +1 instead of a -1 makes it kind of hard to justify. Dragonlord Silumgar is one of the few answers to Oko because they're just going to keep plussing, then we just steal it. We did see our opponent scoop when we pulled that off. We had a couple of sweet fun ofs in here, and they all actually made an appearance tonight. I usually don't see many. Actually, oh, Dragon Horde didn't show up. It got milled over by Mill. We did take a game versus Mill that I didn't think we were going to take. I think it showed that we are goldfishing fast enough for the format, but the fact that we're interacting kind of makes it acceptable. I do think that having 1 to 2 more dragons would be fine, as well as we're probably a little high on the mana count. We do have a castle, Lochlane, whatever the black castle. Here, I'll pull it up here. This guy. That will let us draw cards, so we could probably even try to just lower our curve a little bit more, have a couple of more top end, or just reduce our top end finishers and try to draw into them later. The Treasure Cruise did show its strength the one time that we got to cast it. I think that if we had seen Treasure Cruise in more optimal moments, we would have been fine. So maybe a third Treasure Cruise. I don't know. These are just some random thoughts. If I go back to the actual card tech for this guy, this is what the standard deck was built around. They are efficient cards that do things better or on tier with like even legacy playables, assuming that you meet this condition of having a dragon, and they're probably worth playing around a little bit more. Foul Tongue, we never brought it in. We also didn't see much red. I'm expecting a lot more red in the format, but I just haven't been seeing it. So I might be overboarding for red, but overall, dragons did dragon things. I had a ton of fun casting my Dargans. But I am thirteene, guys. Thanks for sticking around tonight. We have a ton of content up on YouTube. Just search for Squirrel Dealer. We've been doing fun decks for a while. I'm gonna be focusing on Pioneer. At least while the set's fun and fresh, and I'm gonna try to figure out where this goes. Plus, it's a little bit slower. I play a lot of really fun janky decks, so it seems like a pretty good home for me. If you have something fun and cool, I'd love to take a look. Send it to dex@squirreldealer.com. Otherwise, my schedule's over there on the left. If you have something for me directly, you can either post on the YouTube comments or hit me up on Reddit. And thanks for hanging around, and we'll be probably playing Blue-White Control next week. There's still a ton of fun decks circulating around. I'm going to reserve the right to change that, but kind of want to try Control in the new format. So thanks again, and I will talk to you all later.